Hi, so Simon Lee, UK Bouldering Shark. Hi. So we're just going to talk about an edge that I've designed and made with another UKB user, Rick Gins. The reason that I was prompted to do this was because I was trying to do a strict half crimp, which to me felt like a really awkward way to hold a hold, and I really struggled with it to begin with. So the idea is that you have these three fingers just bent at 90 degrees at the second joint, and then the little finger just goes where it needs to go. And to begin with, I found that really difficult. I've never held a hold like that before. It felt really unnatural. I was twisting all over the place. I just thought it just felt wrong. I'm used to it now. But at the time, I just thought, well, really, the reason it's difficult is because if you look at the fingers, they're at different heights, side on, and also when they're extended, they're at sort of different lengths as well. So they're all up and down and all over the place. And I thought, well, if the idea is to have the same joint angle on the fingers, each finger, then it would be better to have a hold that responded to your finger lengths and where they bent. So I worked out what for me were the different sort of heights and depths, and then we had a few goes at sort of prototypes of holds that would work like that. So here's one of the early sort of prototypes, and as you can see, the fingers are sort of more naturally on the holds. So that's the half crimp position, but you can also do it with the sort of full crimp position, as well as the drag. I like to use the thumb on the side as well. So that was the idea for it. And then if you see over here, these are the actual sort of finished products, which we ended up doing at slightly less edge depth. It's about 16 millimeters. There's a bevel on the end of the hold, as you'd expect on sort of normal wooden hangboards. And also what I decided to do is, because when you're sort of hanging, you aren't like this. You know, your hands aren't straight back, but there's actually a sort of, you hold inwards a bit. So again, to make it sort of more ergonomic, that's why we call it the Ergo Edge. To make it all ergonomic, we have to sort of twist it out. So the elbows and arms are in a sort of more natural position as well. So I use this to train in all three main grip positions. So that's full crimp, half crimp, and drag. It's a bit more of a close-up so you can get a better look at it. That's drag, obviously. Half crimp. And I can't do a full crimp because I screwed the end of my finger up. Now that's sort of foot on or feet off. If I'm taking weight off, I use this ring. But more recently, I've been following the simplest training program sort of protocols, where you literally just stand on the floor and bear down as hard as you can. And this works fine on this as well, although you can do it on an edge like that. So Rick's made an initial batch of them, made out of oak, of course. It's a very complicated shape, so he's having to hand make them rather than get them CNC made or whatever. I think they're a thing of beauty, and they really feel, although they look weird, they feel like a really sort of natural thing to sort of hold off. And yeah, it doesn't replicate an outdoor hold or a hold that you'd use on the climbing wall. But my thought is that, you know, the kind of the flexors, the muscles for the fingers in the forearms, they don't really know what you're holding. all they care about is intensity and duration, not the shape of the hold that you're holding. So as a training tool, I think it's a really good idea, and it's interesting that when I'd actually sort of started making one, it seemed like Steve McClure had a sort of similar kind of up and down the edge that he'd used at the foundry, and I see on sort of Instagram as well that Christian Kors produced something more sort of rudimentary as well, which he reckons him and his mates are getting good results off as well. I certainly have been sort of getting good improvements by using it mainly, you know, when I sort of benchmark myself on a campus edge with weights on and all the rest of it. So yeah, I can't prove that it's better than anything else, but what it does tend to do probably is engage your fingers more as well, because there's sort of no hiding place. It's not like the little fingers just like resting there, you know, it's properly engaged on the hold, so you're probably getting more engagement out of all of the fingers, and a more of a sort of overall training effect. I quite like to use the thumbs on the side for the drag and the half crimp, and for a full crimp I actually sort of just rest my thumb on the top of the edge there rather than on top of my finger. So the thumb gets a bit of a workout as well. Yeah, so that's about it. Thanks.